Hello everyone, I wanted to announce that there is a contest on the channel for the month of October to win an Atraxa Praetor's Voice Near Mint from Double Masters, 100 standard size card sleeves from Dragon Shield, and a Zendikar Rising pre-release pack. So to win all three of these, for each video on the channel, I will take one comment per person and submit it into a drawing. Subscribers at the end of the month also get 2 entries automatically submitted. I'll announce the winner at the end of October, so thank you all for the support and good luck. Akiri, Fearless Voyager. This is a Boros commander and it is centered around an equipment build. So let's break down the card. Akiri Fearless Voyager is a 3-drop, 3/3 legendary core warrior. Whenever you attack a player with 1 or more equipped creatures, draw a card. You may pay 1 white and unattach an equipment from a creature you control. If you do, tap that creature and it gains indestructible until end of turn. So this card gives us 2 things that Boros commanders normally don't, and that is card draw and protection. It gives you card draw by just attacking with 1 or more equipped creatures during your attack step, and then protection by paying 1 white, removing an equipment, and tapping the creature and giving it indestructible. These are 2 valuable components of the card, so let's go ahead and break down the rest of the deck. First off, we have Soul Rings, a 1-drop, tap it for 2 colorless. Then we have Talisman of Conviction. It costs 2 to cast. You can get 1 colorless by tapping it, or tap it for a red or a white, and Talisman of Conviction deals 1 damage to you. Boros Signet, 2 to cast. Pay 1, tap it, and get a red and a white. Boros Cluestone, 3 to cast. Tap it for a red or a white. Or you can pay a red and white, tap it, sacrifice it, and draw a card. Then we have Thrawn Dynamo, costs 4 to cast. You can immediately tap it for 3 colorless mana. This helps us with our equip cost or bigger spells that we have in the deck. Okay, now let's go ahead and break down the equipments. We have Darksteel Axe, costs 1 to cast. It's indestructible. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Only costs 2 to equip. Just a cheap equipment to get on Akiri as fast as possible. Infiltration Lens, costs 1 to cast. Whenever equipped creature becomes blocked by a creature, you may draw 2 cards. Equip for 1, so another cheap equipment, and it really incentivizes our opponent not to block. Alright, next up we have Bloodforged Battle Axe, costs 1 to cast, 2 to equip. Equipped creature gets +2/+0. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, create a token that's a copy of Bloodforged Battle Axe. So hopefully we make multiple copies of this because we should be doing a ton of damage to our opponents. After that, we have another 1-drop, Masterwork of Ingenuity. You may have Masterwork of Ingenuity enter the battlefield as a copy of any equipment on the battlefield that is an equipment our opponent controls or one that we control. So we should be copying some pretty great equipments with this card. After that, Shadow Spear, costs 1 to cast. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 and has Trample and Lifelink. 2 to equip. And then you can pay 1, permanents your opponent's control, lose hexproof, and indestructible until end of turn. So pretty powerful card. Now we'll get into the 2-drop. So Conqueror's Flail. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. As long as Conqueror's Flail is attached to a creature, your opponents can't cast spells during your turn. So in this deck, it's going to be giving us the +2/+2 just because it's Boros, only 2 colors. And then it helps us by not allowing our opponents to cast spells during our turn. Then we have Fleet Feather Sandals, is a 2-drop. Equipped creature has flying and haste, equip 2. This just helps our commander attack right away and give it an advantage in flying. Swiftfoot Boots, cost 2 to cast. Equipped creature has haste and hexproof, protects the creature with hexproof, and it can attack right away with haste. Prowler's Helm, costs 2 to cast. Equipped creature can't be blocked except by walls, equip 2. Most people don't run walls, so it's basically giving the creature unblockable. Lightning Greaves cost 2 to cast. Equipped creature has haste and shroud, equipped for 0, protects the creature, and it can attack right away. Then we run Scythe of the Wretched. It's a 2-drop. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Whenever a creature dealt damage by equipped creature this turn is put into a graveyard, return that card to play under your control. Attach Scythe of the Wretched to that creature. Equip for 4. So again, this incentivizes our opponent not to block and get the most damage we can through to their life total. Sword of the Animist costs 2 to cast. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever a equipped creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. So this is an equipment and mana ramp in one card. Love it. Then we have Dowsing Dagger, costs 2 to cast. Whenever Dowsing Dagger enters the battlefield, target opponent creates 2/2 green plant creature tokens with Defender. Equipped creature gets +2/+1. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you may transform Dowsing Dagger. So the downside of this is we're giving our opponents 0/2 green plant creature tokens, but it is boosting our creature, and there are ways to get around, these tokens with flying, unblockable, trample, so on and so forth. But the real great effect of this card is actually when you're able to transform it once you do damage, and it turns into Lost Veil. This is a land that you can tap for 3 mana of any one color and add it to your mana pool. So really beneficial to give us mana ramp, and it's in an equipment, which we run a lot of those in the deck. All right, next up we have Hero's Blade, 2 to cast. Equipped creature gets +3/+2. Whenever a legendary creature enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach Hero's Blade to it. So every time we cast Akiri and we have this out, we automatically get to equip it for free. Blackblade Reforge costs 2 to cast. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each land you control. Equip legendary creature for 3, equip for 7. So again, Akiri's legendary only costs 3 to attach and gives it quite a big boost whenever you attach it. Okay, Sword of Vengeance, 3-drop. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Cost 3 to equip. Forebear's Blade, 3-drop. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has Vigilance and Trample. Whenever equipped creature dies, attach Forebear's Blade to target creature you control. Darksteel Plate, more protection for the creature. This is a 3-drop. Darksteel Plate is indestructible, and equipped creature is indestructible. It only costs 2 to equip. Whisper Silk Cloak, 3 to cast. Equipped creature is unblockable, and equipped creature has Shroud. Equipped for 2. So this card is great. It gives our creature protection and makes it unblockable, but we have to be careful about the Shroud because it can't be the target of any spells or abilities. This includes other equipments. So we want to have other equipments attached before we attach Whisper Silk Cloak, or we have to attach Whisper Silk Cloak to another creature and then put the other equipments on. Champion's Helm costs 3 to cast. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. As long as equipped creature is legendary, it has hexproof. Only costs 1 to equip. Godsend, 3 to pay the mana cost. Equipped creature gets +3/+3. Whenever equipped creature blocks or becomes blocked by one or more creatures, you may exile one of those creatures. Opponents can't cast cards with the same name as cards exiled with Godsend. So the great thing about this card is it gives your creature a +3/+3 boost, and then it exiles a blocking or attacking creature that is blocked by the equipped creature. This gets around hexproof, indestructible, because you're not targeting it. You just get to choose to exile one of those creatures. So really powerful card. And then we have Maul the Sky Claves. This is from Zendikar Rising as well. It's a 3-drop. When Maul the Sky Claves enters the battlefield, attach it to target creature you control. So you get to skip over the equip cost and automatically attach it. An equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has flying and first strike. All right, next 3-drop is Sunforger. Equipped creature gets +4/+0. Then you can pay a red and white unattached Sunforger. Search your library for a red or white instant card with converted mana cost 4 or less and cast that card without paying its mana cost. Then shuffle your library. Equip for 3. So this card gives us a big power boost with the +4 to do more damage, and then we can pay the red and white, unattach it, search for an instant that costs 4 less, and play it for free. So really dynamic card in the deck. Quita Spike costs 3 to cast. Equipped creature has Death Touch. Whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses his or her life rounded up. Equip for 3. Luxodon Warhammer. Another 3-drop. Equipped creature gets +3/+0 and has Trample and Lifelink. Equip for 3. Hammer of Nizan. 4-drop. Legendary artifact equipment. Whenever Hammer of Nizan or another equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach that equipment to target creature you control. Equipped creature gets +2/+0 and has Indestructible. Equip for 4. So this is a great card because it gives the creature +2/+0, Indestructible, but also allows us to automatically attach equipments when they enter the battlefield as long as Hammer of Nizan is on the battlefield. So really great card. Then we have Grafted Exoskeletons. It's another 4-drop. Equipped creature gets +2/+2 and has Infect. Whenever a Grafted Exoskeleton becomes unattached from a permanent, sacrifice that permanent. Equip for 2. So if we can attach this to Akiri and do 10 damage, that's 10 poison counters, Infect, and the opponent's knocked out of the game. So this is one we definitely want to get out and really speeds up the game for our deck. Batterskull, 5-drop. Living weapon. When this equipment enters the battlefield, put a 0/0 black germ creature token onto the battlefield, then attach this to it. So for 5, you're basically getting a creature, and the equipped creature gets +4/+4, has Vigilance and Lifelink on its own. So great card right there. But then you can also pay 3, return Batterskull to its owner's hand, and then equip for 5. And then Argentum Armor costs 6. Equipped creature gets +6/+6. Whenever equipped creature attacks, destroy target permanent. That's any permanent. It's not just one specific type. It's any of them. And it only costs, or it does cost 6 to equip, but we have ways of reducing that cost or just skipping it altogether. Okay, so that is it for all the equipments. We're moving on to the creatures now. So Goblin Welder, 1-drop. It's a Goblin Artificer. Power 1, Toughness 1. Tap it, choose target artifact a player controls and target artifact card in that player's graveyard. If both targets are still legal as this ability resolves, that player simultaneously sacrifices the artifact and turns the artifact card to the battlefield. So this goes for us or our opponent, and it's a really powerful 1-drop in this build. Okay, next up we have Sarah Ascendant. This is a card that should go in any commander deck because your starting life total is normally going to be 40. And it says, as long as you have 30 or more life, Sarah Ascendant gets +5/+5 and has flying. So on turn 1, you'll have a 1-drop human monk that's a 6/6 flyer with lifelink. That's just insane, and it has to go in the deck. Okay. After that, we run Stoneforge Mystic. It's a 2-drop core artificer, 1/2. Says when Stoneforge Mystic enters the battlefield, you may search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Then you can pay 2, tap it. You may put an equipment card from your hand on the battlefield. So it's a tutor and then a cheat card to put equipments on the battlefield. Just an insane card for equipment decks and is a must include. Okay, Leonin Shikari costs 2 to cast for a 2/2 cat soldier. You may activate equip abilities anytime you can cast an instant. So this allows us to attach equipments to our creatures at any time, instant speed, and just is really beneficial and keeps our opponents on edge. Now we have Sram Senior Edificer, costs 2 for a 2/2 Dwarf Advisor. Whenever you cast an aura, equipment, or vehicle spell, draw a card. So it's one of the only cards in the deck that allows us to draw with, besides our commander. So when we cast equipments, we get to draw cards, which is the main one that we'll be casting. Auriok Steel Shaper is a 2 for a 1/1 human soldier. Equip cost you pay costs 1 less. As long as Auriok Steel Shaper is equipped, soldiers and knights you control get +1/+1. That second part isn't as important, but the equip cost you pay costs 1 less is really valuable in this deck. Pure Steel Paladin. One of my favorite cards in this build. It's 2 for a 2/2 Human Knight. When an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may draw a card. Then it has Metalcraft. Equipment you control have equip 0 as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. So if we control 3 or more artifacts, which is pretty easy to do in this deck, we equip for 0. It doesn't cost to move our equipments around between creature to creature, attach it all to 1, and then every time we cast an equipment, draw a card. Really powerful card. Okay, then we have a 3-drop Armory Automaton. It's a construct, 2 power, 2 toughness. Whenever Armory Automaton enters the battlefield or attacks, you may attach any number of target equipments to it. Etched Champion, costs 3 to cast. It's a 2/2. It has Metalcraft. Etched Champion has protection from all colors as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. So this thing can't be blocked except by artifact or colorless creatures. And if it gets through with all the equipments attached to it, it normally can win us games. Then we have another 3-drop Brass Squire. It's a 1/3 mirror. Attach target equipment you control to target creature you control. Then we run Danitha Caption Paragon is another 3-drop 2/2 Human Knight. It has First Strike, Vigilance, Lifelink. Aura and equipment spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. So again, another card that reduced the casting cost for equipment. Then Bailin, Wandering Knight, 4-drop 3/3 Legendary Cat Knight with First Strike. Bailin, Wandering Knight has double strike as long as you as 2 or more equipments are attached to it. Then pay to attach all equipment you control to Bailin. So most of the time this thing's going to have double strike and is going to be pretty big, and it's really easy to attach the equipment just by paying 2. Tajnar Ancestor's Apostle, 4-drop 2/2 Legendary Bird Cleric with Flying. Whenever you cast a historic spell, return target creature card with converted make out 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So historic spells are artifacts, legendaries, and sagas. With this deck, we're mainly going to focus on artifacts and legendaries. We don't run any sagas, but that includes equipments and our commander. So we can bring those creatures that cost 3 or less from the graveyard to the battlefield. Really powerful in this deck. Next up, we have Indomitable Archangel, 4-drop 4/4 Angel, Flying, Metalcraft. Artifacts you control have Shroud as long as you control 3 or more artifacts. So again, just more protection for our artifacts in the deck, and it's pretty easy to get that Metalcraft. Then we have Tajnar Swordsmith, 4-drop 2/3 Cat Soldier. When Tajnar Swordsmith enters the battlefield, you pay X. If you do, search your library for an equipment card with converted mana cost X or less. Put that card onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. So it's a creature and a tutor in one. Really dynamic card. Then I think this is our last creature. The most expensive is Platinum Angel at 7. It's a 4/4 Angel. Flying, you can't lose the game and your opponents can't win the game. This can lock your opponents out of the game if you're able to protect it with certain equipment, such as giving it indestructible, hexproof, shroud, those kinds of things. You just can't lose the game, they can't win, and there's not really a way for them to get rid of it. So pretty powerful card. Alright, next up we have the one enchantment that we run in this deck is Sigarda's Aid. 1-drop, you may cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash, so at instant speed. And whenever an equipment enters the battlefield under your control, you may attach it to target creature you control. So play that equipment at instant speed, attach it at instant speed, and the opponent won't even see it coming. Okay, then we're running another Zendikar Rising card. Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients, 4-drop, enters the battlefield with 4 loyalty counters. +1 is create a 1/1 white core warrior creature token. You may attach an equipment you control to it. -2, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a warrior or equipment card from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. -3, Nahiri, Heir of the Ancients, deals damage to a target creature or planeswalker equal to twice the number of equipment you control. So this is an amazing card in an equipment build, especially this one, and we will be using all 3 of those abilities. Now we have another Nahiri, the Lithomancer. This is a 5-drop, enters the battlefield with 3 loyalty, +2, put a 1/1 white core soldier creature token onto the battlefield. You may attach an equipment you control to it. So basically the same thing as the other Nahiri. The -2, you may put an equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield. So avoids that casting cost or lets us grab one from the graveyard. And then -10, put a colorless equipment artifact token named Stoneforge Blade onto the battlefield. It has indestructible. Equipped creature gets +5/+5 and has double strike and equip for 0. So if we get the ultimate, we can get that Stoneforge Blade out and attach it to one of our creatures, and it's pretty hard to stop the deck at that point. Alright, now we're going to move on to the spells. So we have Swords to Plowshare, 1-drop, instant, exile target creature its controller gains life equal to its power. Pretty simple removal. Then we have Steel Shaper's Gift, 1-drop sorcery, search your library for an equipment card, reveal that card, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library, so a tutor. Then Dispatch, costs 1 to cast instant, tap target creature, but it has Metalcraft. If you control 3 or more artifacts, exile that creature. Again, the Metalcraft is not very difficult to get in this deck, so pay 1 at instant speed to exile a creature is pretty great. Brave the Elements, almost all of our creatures have white in the mana cost, so choose a color. White creatures you control gain protection from the chosen color until end of turn. Just a really dynamic card and a great way to protect our creatures. Galvanic Blast, 1-drop instant. It deals 2 damage to any target, but if you have Metalcraft, it deals 4 damage to that permanent or player instead. So really great card and burn spell. Okay, next up we have Wear and Tear. So pay 2, destroy target artifact, or pay 1, destroy target enchantment, and it has Fuse, so you can cast both of these if you need to. Similar card in Disenchant. It's cost 2 to cast and destroy target artifact or enchantment at instant speed. Then we have Open the Armory, cost 2 to cast, search your library for an aura or equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. So another tutor, but this time just for equipments. Then we have Boros Charm, cost 2 to cast, instant, choose 1, Boros Charm deals 4 damage to target player. Permanents you control gain indestructible to end of turn. Target creature gains double strike to end of turn. Pretty dynamic, and we can use it in a lot of different ways in this deck. Okay, so that's all the spells. Let's go ahead and move on to the lands. I did not include the basic lands in this, just non-basic, so let's go ahead and go over them. Inventor's Fair, legendary land. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you control 3 or more artifacts, gain 1 life. It taps for a colorless mana, then pay 4, tap it, sacrifice Inventor's Fair, search your library for an artifact card, reveal it, put it in your hand, then shuffle your library. Activates this ability only if you control 3 or more artifacts. So, it gives us life gain, can tap for a colorless, or pay 4, sacrifice it, and search our library for one of the equipments to help us win the game. This is a crazy good land, and I think it's very undervalued. After that, we run a Mishra's Factory. You can tap for a colorless, or you can pay 1. Mishra's Factory becomes a 2/2 assembly worker artifact creature till end of turn. It's still a land. Or you can tap it, target assembly worker creature gets +1/+1. So basically, we're just going to use this for the tap for a colorless or the pay 1. It becomes an artifact creature in case of, say, like a board wipe. We can attach equipments to it and still get our damage in, and it's still a land. Okay, now we have some tap lands. Stone Quarry gives us a red or a white, but enters the battlefield tapped. Same thing for the Boros Gildegate here. And then Needle Spires enters the battlefield tapped. Can give us a red or a white, but you can pay 4. Needle Spires becomes a 2/1 red and white elemental creature with double strike until end of turn. It's still a land. This is a great creature again. If there's a board wipe or removal, you still have something to attach your equipments onto. Then we run a Rugged Prairie. It can tap for a colorless, or it can filter into whatever color combination you want. Clifftop Retreat enters the battlefield tapped unless you control a mountain or plains, and gives you a red or white. Then we run Command Tower, so we can get the red or white from that. And then Spire of Industry can tap for a colorless, or you can pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool, activate this ability only if you control an artifact, which most of the time we do. And then we run the 2 artifact lands for our colors. Ancient Den taps for a white, and then Great Furnace taps for a red. So that is the entire deck. Let me know what you guys think. If there's any upgrades or changes you'd like to see, please comment about it. Make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time.